Go.
In my humble opinion, Johnny Rocket! Woo!
Johnny Rocket! Our king!
Alright, so I have two poems today. One of them, I'm actually going to explain it this time, and I don't usually do that. I'm going to start with an older poem, and it's in honor, of course, of Poetry Month. I'll try not to move around too much. Poetry Month, but it's also in honor, it's connected to the other poem in that it's in honor of the fact that the only way I could be at my grandmother's funeral last week was with a poem that I wrote, because it was in Puerto Rico and I couldn't go. So I wrote a poem for my grandma, and my parents read it. So this is in honor of that also, and it's an older poem. So, Ars Poetica number 1. That's an awesome title.
Yeah!
Alright. Because when the night falls, it rolls down the street like a wooden-wheeled bicycle, stumbling over the sidewalks and asphalt rocks, crumbling under the weight of the thick, wet air, leaving splinters of itself in the chipped cracks of stone on its way to be blown by heavy wind into corners, to settle into them and remain through the turns of the day. Because it hangs around my neck like a pendant, twisting around itself on the chain, forcing me to finger it and manhandle it gently until it's set looking outwards again, unknotted. Because its weight increases with each turn of the day, forming rings around my neck, raw and chafed and drawing blood, marking me, and reminding me of the choices to pick up things, which come at each other with pressure and permanency to mark the passing of time in different languages. Because to move through the night air is to move your skin, form your skin into knife edges, wave your arms to dancing, slice in angles and move in degrees, leaving scrapes of ribbon of humid evening dangling in your wake. Because that is what's flown onto paper, bits of nighttime mixed with blood, ribbons of unmanifested rain, repressed mixed with strips of sacrificed skin. Because to stand stagnant is to leave skin untouched, to leave the night undanced, leave both whole. Because we put things together in order to take others apart. Because somewhere in the seams and in between the threads of page lie droplets of ocean carried over by wind, and we need to breathe them in order for it to rain. Because it needs to rain. Because life is not a race, it's a puzzle. And we haven't even pieced together the edges of the sky. Because we keep asking why and no one will answer. So we search under each leaf, on the spiny vine veins of each tree, along the inside seams of arms, pale white and thin and soft, because we scribble guesswork there, for others to write questions to, because we scribble guesswork and wait for the world to answer. So my dad's mom died last week. And I wrote this poem to her. And I'm going to start with a little bit that I wrote today, sort of lead it in if I could. All right. I'll let you know when the actual poem starts. Preface. She taught herself to read by the newspaper scraps on the road, homeless and barefooted. She was an almost doctor till she figured out that love heals better than the medicine ever could. Married and had 3 children with a man who'd never been able to settle down until he lost his wandering feet to her long, long legs. Of all the Jorge Juniors he had, it was the last one that counted the most to her, to me. She spent 80-some years in the same house tending her flowers so that her midnight bloomer would bloom 50 angel white flowers at 11 p.m. on the night of the day she said goodbye. She returned by filling them with the sweet scent of her love, sweet and filling every atom. Poem. Dolores Rondet Ibanez, April 10th, 2012. She left cookies on the kitchen counter. The floor fresh swept, slept with the covers tucked around herself and dreamt. They wept quiet and kept their breaths to themselves. We were never ones to make a drama of death. He said he mourned his mother by comforting everybody else, shrugged his grief off his shoulders and watched the dust fall to the ground, thought, we're always blowing off layers of ourselves. Every time we yawn, there's so much loss in sleeping. She left cookies on the counter, fresh baked and waiting. He left her at the cusp of bedtime. Hasta mañana, vieja. She left the cookies on the counter for her boys in the morning, turned the radio to Prelude to a Dream, and forgot to stop dreaming. Se fue como un pajarito, left a bed of feathers and her song somewhere in the corner, dreamt of flying over her island sea and forgot to come back in the morning. Quiet as you please, quiet as you please. He found her asleep, with her breath tucked into her luggage. He took a deep breath in her honor, called him and then him. They alternate crying so there'll always be someone left to breathe and someone else to scan the skies. They decided not to tell their sister till she came back from looking for her, flying over the Vieques Sea with her wings all high more, looking for her mother. This family is roughly gentle and always has been. The soft that comes from being beaten against stones. We've been tossed by the sea until our coarseness was beautiful. A rainbow callus from swimming upstream. She dug herself out from the beach with newspaper scraps but never emptied her shoes of the sand. Asked, in the end, to be mixed with the grains she carried and returned to the sea from whence she came. Nos vemos, vieja. She left her cookies on the counter, feathers in her bed, sand in her wake, and forgot to stop dreaming. Said, turn me back into the grains. Carry me past the shore. Go out into the sea and return me. Sometimes life is a cycle, most literally. Nos vemos, vieja.
Whoa!